Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Auntie Tatiana. You can follow me on TikTok at Auntie Tatiana2. This video right here is long overdue. I know you guys have been patiently waiting. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Admiral Richard Byrd, the Greys, the Pleiadians, and also the Martians. And I'm also going to throw in a little bit of extra tea that I came across recently because it's kind of relevant to what the fuck is going on currently. I also want to throw out there real quick that I did just open up a shop where I'm selling t-shirts that I designed myself. So if you guys could, I would appreciate if you would show your support and, you know, purchase something. You can find the link to it in my channel bio. As you guys already know, the majority of the information that I'm discussing with you now comes from this book right here, The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls. But also a lot of my information is from independent research that I've conducted on my own that I'm just connecting the dots on and giving to you guys. So let's get into it. So who the hell is Admiral Richard Byrd? Well, he is actually very important in the knowledge that we have currently about Antarctica. He was a naval officer and explorer who was the first person to fly over the South Pole. He even has a diary where he explains exploring some strange land that's hidden from the public. This man was basically telling us about some uncharted civilized land that he found. And he mysteriously dies in 1957. And then a year later in 1958, NASA was created to distract everyone from what the fuck Admiral Richard Byrd was talking about, to focus their attention up at the sky in space. When we know space isn't real. But don't take it from me. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm going to show you guys a video clip of Admiral Richard Byrd actually explaining himself what the fuck he saw.
You've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
So he basically made many expeditions to Antarctica, and he even made contact with the Anakim, who I explained in a previous video are the giants. He was supposed to help carry out the plan of human awakening in the known lands, so he kind of became like an infiltrator against the custodians. But eventually, by choice or obligation, he decided to deliver valuable and secret information of the Anakim technology to the custodians. So he betrayed, but he betrayed them. So because of this betrayal, he was the first of the group of the new humanity that were sent to Mars in recognition of his work. A lot of these celebrities, a lot of these elites that we think are dying, they're not really dead. These motherfuckers are being sent to Mars in reward for betraying us. In the land of Mars, there are several colonies of different races of beings that were placed there by the custodians and Anunnaki. They basically wanted to populate Mars with several races where they were in control for experimental purposes. The humans that were there now all belonged to the new humanity of the last reset, and all of them had earned their passage by the help given in different missions against their own brethren. The local race was undeveloped, and they didn't put up much resistance in their colonization. Now, everything that we've been told about Mars is completely untrue. When we think of Mars, we think of like some red planet that's just like desert dry. There's no life there. It's just, bleh. But that's not true. These lands harbored a variety of life. There was an abundance of vegetation, and the dome of Mars actually had the biggest variety of animals and flora known. Its lands were very fertile, and it actually was the first dome that the Anunnaki and custodians penetrated and colonized. The original beings of Mars at that time of collision with the custodians and Anunnaki put up as much resistance, the best resistance that they could, but it wasn't enough. They were very proud beings and great defenders of life and their lands. They all perished in battle, unfortunately. The last beings even committed suicide when they saw that they were going to be part of some great colonizing race. Knowing this sad story, their loss is regretted since the true and real Martians were beings that based all of their technology on purely spiritual growth. So after all that, the Anunnaki decided to use Mars as its second home due to its proximity to their own dome. With the passage of time and the treaty with the custodians, the Anunnaki then decided to use Mars as an experiment, gathering different races from different colonies, which can still be found there today. Okay, so the first humans that were sent to Mars settled in a land called Area, which was very fertile, very immense, but they soon got into conflict with the other races that were also living there, and they began to fight over territory. The custodians and the Anunnaki enjoyed this spectacle, and they loved to see different beings fighting. As time went by, though, the humans lost their territory and area, so they decided to settle in another land not too far by. There's even a land called Argyre, which is a direct portal that leads to the Anunnaki lands that was placed there since the beginning of the colonization of Mars. Today, Mars is a prosperous area and there are no major conflicts. In fact, it's a land that some humans can visit as a reward for tasks performed for the custodians. It is also known that some of them even stay there because they manage to rejuvenate their bodies and get to live long years compared to the known lands and, you know, the toxins existing in the polluted air that we breathe. But basically, the land of Mars is considered a large zoo. Like, it's where different behaviors, confrontations, and conflict resolutions are like studied. And it's a huge farm of like exhaustive monitoring and analysis of different races. So next, I'm gonna talk about the Greys and where they come from, the lands of Orion. So the Greys were basically very hostile and also based their technology on weapons of destruction for attack and defense. They were oriented to colonize, but no other domes were being colonized by them. So what was they doing all that for? So the Greys had been colonized since their beginnings by the Anunnaki, and they were used by the Anunnaki on several missions to other worlds in order to try to control Terra Infinite. Terra Infinite is all 178 domes. They were also used to help fulfill functions that were needed on Earth, which is why there's so many reportings of people claiming they've seen the Greys or claiming that they've been abducted by the Greys. And if you don't know anything about any of that, all you gotta do is look up motherfucking Area 51 and the Roswell incident. You'll get all the information you need to know. That shit is real. So if you guys remember that great war I was telling you about, the War of Tartary, where the giants and the humans rebelled against the custodians. During that time, the Greys were put in charge of Earth, but they had failed their mission on Earth because they ended up giving valuable information about the domes to humans. Now, there are some people that believe the Greys are a direct creation of the Anunnaki that were used as like an inferior race to serve them. But the reason why people think this is because the Greys are very robotic in their functions and movements. In fact, like, these beings are completely devoid of emotions. But this isn't true. They were born inside the dome called the Lands of Orion, and after their confrontation with the custodians and Anunnaki, they almost faced extinction, but they used their scientific advances in cloning to base their survival on that. So basically, they're cloning themselves to survive. But overall, the Greys are beings of great scientific development, and they have laboratories that are probably the most advanced within the Great Dome. However, they have like some weird curiosity about us humans. They like to analyze us in depth, carrying out abductions and other genetic tests. It is said that one of the great gray leaders died in the known lands, which generated this hate for humanity that they had. Although it was never managed to have them as allies since they hated humans, the truth is that there was an exchange of technology between gray leaders and humans, but they fell into the hands of the elite and were used against and for the destruction of the race itself. So last but not least, we have the Pleiadians, who are these Nordic-like beings that are depicted as having blue eyes and blonde hair. The Pleiadians are very close to the known lands, and they're like very tall beings. It is said that their ancestors survived the Battle of Asgard against the Custodians and then escaped to those lands in the Pleiades. They are generally benevolent to humans, but they did make a peace pact with the Anunnaki during an early age of their development. So their environment is believed to have been manipulated by the Anunnaki, and for this reason, from time to time, they experience natural disasters. And it is believed that this tactic was implemented in order for them to have to escape and seek refuge in the known lands. But although they have visited the, known lands Earth from time to time, they do not feel comfortable coexisting with humans. I wonder why. The Pleiadians didn't help the humans in the Great War of Tartary. Although they also didn't help the Custodians, they preferred to sit on the sidelines and not get involved. They remained neutral. So they are not seen as great allies in the eyes of the Giants because they did not help humans in those important moments in history. But overall, the Pleiadians are very spiritual beings, and they are very spiritually advanced, and they could help humans on their path to enlightenment. There's even certain humans that claim they have the ability to channel these beings, so they could be very helpful to humanity if they wanted to. So in their past, the Pleiadians were under the control of the Custodians, and they were basically on the verge of extinction. But due to their technological development and spiritual awareness, they were able to resist and become a great free society that we see today. Being located so close to the celestial lands, the Pleiadians were able to see all of the attempts made by the Custodians to enter it and how they used humans on several occasions as well as other races to try to enter it. At this moment, I feel like the Pleiadians have decided to kind of try to work together with the Ancestral Republic and the Giants to try to figure out a way to liberate the humans, because they are potentially opening up to the idea of coexisting with humans. There was a point in time where these different beings used to coexist with humans in our realm of Earth. And I'm going to show you some pictures of these beings on Earth, and I want you guys to tell me, what do you guys think? Because this is a part of our history that we do not know about. Now for this part of the video, I want to kind of take it back for you guys a moment. And remember in my previous videos when I mentioned the great resets that were done to humanity? Well, I believe that we're approaching another reset really soon. I recently saw a commercial and I want you guys to take a look at it and tell me, what does this remind you of?
Introducing Ectolife, the world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy. Ectolife allows infertile couple to conceive a baby and become the true biological parents of their own offspring. Every pod is designed to replicate the exact conditions that exist inside the mother's uterus. A single building can incubate up to 30,000 lab-grown babies per year.
Now, when that video mentioned that they can incubate babies, that reminded me of the photos I've seen of the world fairs from the past where they had literal exhibits of baby incubators. Why would somebody pay money to see a premature baby in an incubator? Unless perhaps this baby was artificially created. Doesn't that shit sound fucking mind-blowing to you guys? Now that video really rubs me the wrong way because something about artificial babies just doesn't sit right with me. And it reminds me of that scene from The Matrix when he wakes up out of the pod and basically he realizes that we're all like just fucking in the fucking Matrix. Like, tell me this doesn't correlate to you.
And over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. Combined with a form of fusion, the machines had found all the energy they would ever need. There are fields here, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown.
I feel like all of this is being done and promoted and pushed to prepare people for the new agenda of this reset that's about to happen. Because once a reset happens, you know, the population is annihilated and it's started over with babies. And the babies are brainwashed and re-educated for the purpose of the elite, the custodians, the Anunnaki, whoever's in control of us. Now, there's already been a bunch of resets that have already happened, and there's little details from the past that kind of hint towards the resets that occurred. Because if you look at a lot of postcards from the 1800s, they depict babies found in cabbages. And it's like really weird because what are they trying to say? That these babies were grown? Take a look at some of these postcards and tell me what you guys think. Now, it would be, you know, okay if it was like 1, 2, maybe even 5 postcards, but to have thousands of postcards depicting this, what are they trying to tell us that happened? I'm trying to tell y'all what they're trying to tell us. There was a reset, and to repopulate the earth, they had to artificially create babies. And in this video, you can see this woman pulling babies out of the cabbages and just like throwing them on the ground. Like there's no regard for this baby's life at all. It seems like they are just looked at as a product. So that gives me the idea that at one point in time, motherfuckers was literally growing babies and they did not give a fuck about these babies. They were just a means to make money for them and to repopulate the earth. And I believe that this is where the idea for the Cabbage Patch dolls came from. And if you even look into the Cabbage Patch doll history, it's even fucking weirder because there's like, it's based around a little boy named Xavier who stumbles across a hybrid bee bunny type creature and he follows it past a waterfall into a patch, like there's like a field of like babies in cabbages. And there's even a fucking witch who wants to keep all the babies for herself to use them as slaves to mine gold for her. Who does that sound like? That sounds like the Anunnaki mining gold for them. Remember my other video? And what's even weirder on top of all of that is that there are medieval books and passages from the medieval times that depict a plant that has like a humanoid body. And this plant is called a mandrake. And if you've ever seen Harry Potter, I'm going to show you a clip right now. They're even showing the mandrake plant. So like, what is really going on? Was there a point in time where there was technology to grow humans? Like, this shit gets really deep and it gets really fucking weird. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. That's the little tea I had to slide in for you. And I hope you enjoyed my video. Please give me a thumbs up and comment because I need to know, what do you guys feel about all this?